Good luck on your essay then, I suppose. 45 minutes sounds good, absolutely do. That's enough. Anyway, today I'll be doing a rest stream on which I just rest. I just rest up, you know, rest up, unwind, have some fun. And so obviously, if this is going to be a rest stream, then what better way to rest than by working on the video. Damn it, Premiere, stop with the flashbang, it's fine, buddy. You don't have to be like this. Unless you do have to, absolutely fine. I'm gonna keep you in the background till you calm down. Ah, why are you like this? There we go, you've calmed down, finally. Hi, the Raging, hi. Most people when they said I should read it probably again. That's fair, well, then it really does sound like you can do it. Hold on. Love your idea of resting. Well, that's just my personality, what can I say? Reply real quick. Okay, brilliant. So let's first start by actually having some animations run in the background, because you know what, it is a rest stream after all, but you know, it's hard to relax when there is nothing happening in the background, the productivity, etc. So this is a video about derivatives again. Actually, is this rendered? Should be. It is. Beautiful. Which means I need to add it in. Ideally, I would like also this video to tire, this live stream to tire me out of it, because I really should be going to sleep, but I can't. I've tried and failed. There we go. There we are. So it's a pretty neat one. Not a video I'm particularly happy about making, as in I'm not enjoying the process of making it, but I do believe it is going to be a useful one, because, well, with this one done, there will be 3/4 of all the derivative knowledge I have finished. The only thing left afterwards will be differential equations. Because I'm in here right now, and I can probably not go to any master level course, like one about standard model I originally wanted. I can't skip ADS, but there are some very interesting looking bachelor courses about quantum mechanics. Go for those then. I mean, listen. Coincidence of coincidences. If you're going into courses about quantum mechanics, then bachelor courses about quantum mechanics, then I'm pretty certain I have a couple of resources that could help you out with that, and there'll be more coming in the coming months. So that would be neat. That would be quite neat. I imagine that would make the process of you going through these courses a fair bit easier for you. Like this, there we go. And let's just do 7. Splendid. This is our direction of time with distance, because that's the only way for some reason I could think of visualizing this as an idea. Which means this should be slightly less greenish, slightly more like this, aligned with this DT in the background, or to be even more exact, we can just straight up copy the color because we don't live in the 1800s anymore. There we are. I'm playing Kerbal Space Program. I'm guessing KSP is Kerbal Space Program. Very good game. Yeah, Bunda. It's a nice game. I was just looking for Science Trial. I'm by call experiments, so I got living 2 to 3 nickels a month. I wish living on 2 to 3 nickels a month would be, jeez, the standards of living I could afford then. My goodness, I'd be living like a king. Ah, right. Let me think about this. The position should be join right here. It is X. Alright, so right here we should just add 3.5. Splendid. There we go. Although I don't say this is a bit gross. So let me just, there we are, much better. Render animation, splendid. Back to this. Alright, so once again I'm going through my 2-week C phase, as one does, and I wanna have some fun with forks and execs and threads and such. What I did so far is this, so testing 1, 2, 3, and then so on, which just, all it does, it breaks apparently. Why did it only do it twice? It did it on the first and last. Well, that's not great. That's not, why did you only do it on the first and last? Two boosters felt like slamming into the rest of the rocket, very fun. I remember the one time I played Kerbal Space Program on stream and it ended up beautiful and working very well. I've managed to build the rocket, failed to build a plane. Well, I mean, I suppose in a way I have succeeded to build a plane. It was just peculiar, the only way to describe it. Right, now why are you going only with the first and last? That's the question. Arcs buffer. Oh, because the scanf is right. No, that. Oh wait, no. First of all, this has to be right here. That's the first thing. Second thing. Why did it only do first and last? Could have something to do with that would make sense. Hi Tefta, hi, how you doing? How's your day going? Tefta's actually good at Kerbal Space Program. When I played it, I failed and crashed miserably. I still remember the plane I've built. It was glorious. I mean, the differences of a rocket and a bomb is only directed fuel burnage. I wouldn't even say that that's the difference. I would say it's a spectrum. You have a certain amount of energy. How much are you using for travel? How much are you using for impact? A spectrum. And well, how are you? I'm decent, as always, working. I'm right now going through my two... Hold on. Oh, let me show you something which I don't think I've shown you, because I don't think I've specifically shown you. And this is quite something you might appreciate, which is... let me just get the lights going. Alright, this brilliant. That's quite fun. I've changed up my setup on my work desk. I've changed it up a bit, and so now it looks like this. The camera is pointing straight down. I don't know why I haven't done it months ago, to be honest. Considering how you can see that the hands are going from me, which means you can see the table as I can see the table, which is really nice. Yeah, I don't know why I haven't done it earlier, because I had this tripod for such a long time. Work desk equal kitchen. I mean, it is in my kitchen, yes, but it's not my kitchen desk. My kitchen includes my work desk, on the other side my kitchen desk, and in between them an undead zone, which isn't clean enough to work on electronics and isn't sanitary enough to work on cooking, so that's hard to do. I bought a bar that comes right behind me. For me, it really wasn't hard to do because I have a specific tripod. I think it's called a boom, if I'm not mistaken. I don't remember. But it's like a very specific kind of tripod that extends and then gives you a 90-degree angle. Very, very handy for when I'm noting down equations. That's a great choice, especially for those such. Exactly. Well, the reason why the thing that actually pushed me to set it up was the fact that I really, really wanted to solve some equations for videos, and it was just easier to do it like this, because then I could be solving the equations. Just solving the equations. You're still using the transition I made? Yeah, obviously I'm still using it. It's brilliant. I still use all the graphics you've made, because all of them are so goddamn useful. For example, a common addition in my videos is this. Almost all of the graphics you made I still use. Hi there, Holy Fingerboo. Hi. Alright. If you ever need it, let me know. It is some solenoid graphic design. If I do, then I will, but I have been trying to also become a bit more self-reliant with this. With the badges on the website, for example. That I've been, well, to be fair, all of them were on the badge, on the icon you have made, but I miss it now. I just design AIs. Going from being a designer to being an engineer. I would take that. If I could give up being an animator to be a scientist. To be fair, that is kind of what I'm actively trying to do. So I don't think I need to say that I would do it. My actions speak louder than words. Hopefully eventually Adrian will take over with the video making stuff for me. Adrian, I can give you a master's, well, personally, I could give you like bachelor's level tops, but I could arrange it so that you get a master's level quantum mechanics course you actually understand. But in return, I'm gonna need them bits. You gotta send this with a good communication skill. But I'm still thought of as the guy who makes videos, and in order to change that, that's gonna take effort. I need to make it working on a video. I have gotten much better at physics, I do have to say. It is nice. The fact that I finally understand things. It is really nice. But hey, let's grow, isn't it? Right, we need a second cube of momentum, which should be trivial because we just need to duplicate this. I have a question about the video. You exchange the function with sine. Don't you have to put in some values because the original function was a wave, not just a sine? The question, the video about the harmonic oscillator? I'm guessing about the harmonic oscillator because the harmonic oscillator is minus m by k second order derivative in relation to time of position is equal to position, like this. Is this the video you're referring to, as in the harmonic oscillator? Because in that scenario, you could also do it with a cosine, as far as I'm aware, because second order derivative of a cosine this still gives you a minus. Don't you have to put in some values because the original function is a wave, not just the sine? Not really. I mean, the way you solve differential equations is mostly just guessing, to be honest. It's guesswork until you're correct. And so, in this scenario, you can... the convention is to start the sine. I honestly don't know why, since, as I mentioned, cosine fulfills the same requirement. But sine is just... I don't know, everyone just prefers the sine. Cosine is... sine is technically like the main trigonometric function. What is Mickey doing for this nice relaxing stream? Working, obviously. Working on this and working on Taxi. Setting up the hardware backbone of Taxi. Using some more sophisticated tools this time. But you know, the entire time I'm going to also be rendering in the background because we can't just go around wasting time. There we go. So you just assume the wave is a sine or cosine wave and solve it that way and hope for the best. No. First things first. You, at this point, technically, you don't know if that the solution is a wave. Because why would you know? Like, you're saying that the solution is a wave. Why would the solution be a wave? So let's start from the beginning. We reach this point, this equation. Why do you think that the solution is a wave? What tells you that? Well, nothing really. Instead, what you know is that the second order derivative of x of t gives you a minus. That's what you know. Or in other words, in order to solve this equation, if we plop it onto the other side, then we know that second order derivative of x of t is equal to minus km xt. So you know that taking the derivative twice gives you a minus and a constant. And when it comes to this minus, one thing which we know is that for both sine and cosine, but we just picked sine, we know that sine, second order derivative of the sine, gives you a minus at the end. We are solving it from like a not purely mathematical point of view, but quite mathematical. Differential equations, yay. Yeah, differential equations indeed. Fun, never-ending fun. Okay, this and this and... oh, damn it, I did it on the wrong thing. I did it on the arrow. And also this has to be copied over, brilliant. So right here, extending it to 3.5. That's where you assume it's a sine and continue with that. You guess. You basically guess that it would be a sine. But that's not, you don't make an arbitrary, like a completely random guess. You make an educated guess that would be a sine. And the reason why you make that guess is because you know that if you take the derivative twice, you need to get a minus and a constant. And the minus is a really tricky thing, because once with a constant, you can take the approach of the chain rule. With the constant, you can take the approach of the chain rule to figure out that, like this, you can figure out that, you know, this allows you to multiply by a constant if gt is an x to the first power times a constant, right? This right here. So this works because then if you have some kind of constant phi, and then you know that you're taking the derivative twice, then constant phi is just equal to c times c. Because the derivative once, the derivative a second time, that's simple. With a minus, it's a little bit more tricky, because in that scenario we can take the same approach, but that would give us -1 is equal to c times c. And yeah, the more clever cookies among you could say, make it, that's easy, just say that c is equal to I. To which I say, fucking try solving a differential equation that way, you're not gonna have a good time. And even if you succeed, what you're gonna end up with in the end is e to the I something, which, congratulations, that's a sign. That's basically a sign with extra steps. You literally made the equation more complex than it had to be. Pun intended, you're welcome. My goodness, I am really cracking, the mathematics there, because that was proper. Alright. Beautiful. This right here is meant to visualize the derivative of momentum in relation to time. Simple. The one thing I hate is doing Laplace transforms and then doing partial fraction decomposition to solve second order ordinary differential equations. It just takes so long depending on the differential equation. Yeah, I mean, differential equations have a reputation for a reason, don't they? Recently, I've taught a good friend of mine how to solve differential equations. Not like how to solve all of them, but the idea behind solving differential equations. EDX is a sign with less steps, actually. That depends how you look at it. That depends if you define your trigonometric functions based on the Euler's, or if you define your Euler's based on trigonometric functions. Because if I'm not mistaken, historically trigonometric functions were actually first, and they were retroactively redefined. I especially hated them on exams just because of the time constraint. In that scenario, I can only imagine it would be quite annoying. Right, let's try running this. And for some reason, it only takes the first and the last, which is a problem. This is a problem. That's even worse. Okay. Why? Alright, no point in scrolling to the end because, it's C is going to be printing really fast. Token is equal to args buffer, which takes in the scan for what we've just gotten. The important bit here is that it worked before the halt. This worked, if I'm not mistaken. This is not a problem. This is no, and then it breaks. 10! That's your issue! Oh, you are mental. Can I just up it to 1,000? This is not a problem. My goodness, you are taking a piss with me right now. Fine. I had to do it this way because if I just did PS and S, it would have been the whole can of worms. I just saw the new stuff on the website and it looks great. Also, I just want to discover that the Remco's real name really is Remco. What a badass name, right? It really is. Technically, if I'm not mistaken, it's not a name, more like a way to say a name. Ah, damn it. Alright, there we go. It's actually rendering really quick. We might be quite efficient on this stream. Oh wait, before we do though... Okay, no, it's fine. Right, we need to move the camera. But yeah, back to it, Remco is really an incredible name. That man has won the lottery of life. Honestly. Handsome, smart, has a good name, was born Dutch, I mean, come on. It's not fair. It's not fair. Absolutely not fair. Alright, let's start it out as a 4 and then leave it down to something that blurs the background enough. 0.1 could be a bit much. Let's do 0.2 and maybe sample it right here. Yeah, that's really fun. Beautiful. Render animation. Back to this. So what have I just done here? Well, what I've done so far is I've made a simple program in which we can do test 1, 2, 3, and then it breaks. Why does it break? It goes over it again. Well, that is fairly confusing. It breaks with this loop. But when it loops again, it should just run the scan, should it not? They even went to watch a movie about propaganda during World War II. Was crazy interesting. But what is a bit concerning for me is some similarities to America and hate against immigrants. Wait till you read 1984 and then look at America right now. Because that is a bit rough, I'm not gonna lie. When make a network server. Okay. But not political channel, right. The question is, why doesn't this work? It gets stuck in a loop, which means token must always be a test. Oh wait, hold on a minute. Hold on. Something. A, B, C. No, it still runs as something. Never mind, I had a theory, it didn't turn out. So it always gets stuck in the first one, which means we aren't really, our args buffer isn't really moving on. Because what should happen here, as far as I'm aware, is this should be the pointer to the beginning of our string we're trying to parse. Then this should be the pointer to that string, so that it can be, well no, this is a pointer, this points to the beginning of the string, and this is the pointer to the pointer, which means this allows the function to modify what this pointer points to, offsetting it by however much we have found. So args buffer should actually be dynamic. It doesn't appear to be though, and I can't help but think that the reason why is because of this. That's going to be such a neat pickle, if you will, if that is true. Something test 1, 2. No, it's never mind. Well, I had a theory. It didn't work. This is really curious. And I mean really, really curious. Something test 1, 2. Well, la-di-da, found your problem. The reason why CMD buffer doesn't appear there is because the beginning is overwritten by str talk r, if I'm not mistaken, and but the args buffer is the curious part, because this is specifically what the scan was supposed to prevent. Because it looks that it's terminating the args buffer. I mean, I could fix it the dumb way. I don't want to though. What I could do is I could go over the entire args buffer, replace every spacebar with some other unnamed character, and then just look for that character instead of... This is horrible. We could also remove this while loop and just print this. The token, without the token obviously, because token is gonna mess everything up. Hi the Teftal.
Hey, I just want to say hi.
Hi.
I heard you're using characters, and then I was like, what? What are you doing? That's stuff that I do.
Very rich collection. What are you using characters for?
Well, like delimiters. You're trying to replace the delimiters to batch something.
I am, but for some reason, this function appears to be treating space bars as string terminators, which doesn't make sense because that doesn't happen and shouldn't happen in C.
That totally piqued my interest. Sorry, that's why I was like, what?
I mean, it doesn't make sense because it's ASCII effectively, and the string terminator is a 0. It always is. Space is something like not a 7. I think 7 was a bell, but let's see how much of this I can try. Oh, 7 was a bell. Look at me being so clever and being able to recite portions of ASCII from memory. Which character was the space though?
Is 42A?
42, 41 is a yes.
Ah, dang it! See, I'm slipping.
I think no, that appears to be empty.
That's when you know you're a true hacker, is when you memorize the ASCII tables.
I've just spent this too long not eating. For some reason, for most of my for most of my journey with C, I just refused to use the string.h header, which that is the header that includes like all of the utilities for dealing with strings, and I just always refused to use it and implemented everything myself, which always led to such a pain for no reason. Doesn't matter. Let's try this. Something test 1, 2, 3. Yeah, so this works, which means
Can I ask why are you writing in C? Like, is this a part of the animation?
No. I'm going a bit crazy with all the work, and I realized that unless I actually get a hobby, I'm going to absolutely lose my mind. So I'm getting back to the taxi project, the Raspberry Pi 5 thing I had with the screen and such.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and so what I'm doing right now is I'm doing like my own kind of control. So basically I want a system that this is meant to be the command line for it, but I want but I could use like a normal Linux command line, obviously, but what's the fun there? I'm gonna make my own. But the neat part about this command is what I want to do is that, well, as you type in a command, you press enter, you can instantly type in the next command, and it just starts the command as a new thread. So you can just run however many things you want. So, you know, unlike a normal CMD where you type something in and then you need to wait for it to finish or start a new terminal, in this scenario, you would just have one, and then you could just check out the status, etc., etc. And like this is the beginning for it, and I'm already, this is the very beginning because all I'm doing is string passing and it already crashed and burned. So that was quite quick.
That's awesome.
It's fun.
I had to make one of those Raspberry Pi AI thingies for work.
Oh, how did it go?
It went okay. The delay from asking a question to the response is like 20 seconds.
I mean, for a Raspberry Pi, it's not bad. Wait, was it like one of those specialized circuits or a literal Raspberry Pi?
So I did both internal. Yeah, it has a hat that just handles the audio input and output. It has microphones and speakers. But I both connected it to a custom AI in the cloud that I designed. And that was kind of exciting because I could customize the tools that the AI had access to. But both of them took about 20 seconds, and it mostly is just the rendering the wave file
That makes sense.
for text to speech. Yeah.
Just reminds me when a couple months ago I wanted to make my own speech to text, like audio processing thing, and I was wondering why it wouldn't work on a Raspberry Pi Zero. Well, no wonder now. They do take a little bit more juice. But it went well, that's good.
Vosk models are as low as 56 megabytes. I mean,
Yeah, I mean,
the data set to train it.
it was incredible. It was incredible. It ran just fine on the Raspberry Pi 5, so that's something.
NVIDIA just came out with a new text-to-speech that's instantaneous. And a couple more came out last week. And I haven't tested them yet.
Oh, and wait, but instantaneous on what kind of hardware? Or they went out the hardware
it doesn't
thing?
really... Yeah, we're talking like sub 1 second renders. I don't know, but I will find out. I will report back to you.
Because I mean, instantaneous, that's not really neat. But I'm
Anything
just scared.
sub 1 second.
I'm just scared ever since. I mean, yeah, obviously sub 1 second is instantaneous for this kind of task. But I am kind of scared ever since I did the Pi Zero thing. I really hope to get back with this as just having... I'm changing my mind about it, so right now I'm specifically not working on it for a video. I will still probably release a video on the second channel, but I specifically don't want it to be like, making for content, because you are very much familiar of just how different the process of working on something.
It's so hard.
Yeah, it's so annoying.
You don't know until you've tried it. And like, if I watch other people's videos, you can tell like that took 2 years to make. Like, you have to store video files and like
that's the thing.
Thousands of gigabytes of recordings just to capture a 12-minute video over the course of 2
Whenever
years.
you post some kind of short and then I watch it on stream, then I most of the time always like have a separate reaction to the thing that the short is showcasing and the short itself, because it's genuinely so difficult to put to people who haven't done it, of just how separate of topics basically working on something versus documenting that work are. They are just so different.
Yeah.
Because in the most convenient, the most efficient, the nicest way to work on something is when you're just doing it without the cameras on the table with some music blasting, and then you're just doing it on the fly, and then you can do 4 hours of work in 30 minutes.
Yeah.
But then you're not gonna...
So
Go.
I had to buy a new hard drive just to store my footage, but I think I'm learning how to do it. But that's like the only thing that I do for video creation. And like, you already have an awesome flow for your videos that are high quality, that it just, I don't know, it seems counterproductive for you to make a video like that, because it would just be super hard.
Yeah, those flows only work for videos which are purely theoretical, because then I don't need to basically do anything. All I need to is like have some knowledge and then convey that knowledge. Then it takes explanations. But the whole joy of working on something practical is that you don't actually know what's going to happen. I mean, everything on paper looks lovely, but then you're gonna end up spending God knows how long simply trying to get a single OLED screen to work before realizing that it's been fried the entire time way too late. And like, on one hand, you can design a just absolutely phenomenal 4-layer PCB, which is an absolute feat of engineering, but it could be difficult, like, just explain the process there. Whereas on the other hand, something completely unexpected, being that tiny OLED, takes such a majority of time, and it's just so annoying.
Yeah, to design a 4-layer PCB took 4 hours. To troubleshoot an OLED screen, 3 days, 8 hours each.
It is absolutely hilarious. But it's so much fun. That's why I'm just getting into it. But this time I'm specifically like mentally preparing myself to think of it as a hobby, not as work.
Your my favorite video that you did hardware wise was that clock, or the 8x8 OLED.
Oh yeah, the 8x8. Yeah,
that was awesome.
That was neat.
Map them together. And that's like perfect marriage, I thought, of your skills, and just that I think was super cool.
It was, but those kinds of, like, that project was, if you think about it, that was really, really simple. it's I won't even say it with your skills, because like even I could do it right now in a day. That is like genuinely a day's worth of work designing from planning through building to designing, because over there effectively all it was was 8x8 matrix and a joystick connected to a Raspberry Pi Pico, and that is genuinely trivial. So the problem is that if I actually had to work on something more major, then it would become unbearably difficult. But yeah, I really like the workflow
Well,
there.
that's why I think, yeah, I think that that might be the secret sauce of that type of video is to break things down to such simplistic components that you could do that.
I think
So like just connecting two things together or something that you'd think would be trivial, but make a whole video about it.
I think the
It
reason
could make
why
it easier.
I think that the reason that made it the best was the fact that it was retrospective, non-chronological. As in that video, it started with the idea, then it went on to programming, then it went to the electronic components, etc., etc. But the problem is that that's never how it works. Like you always need to, you never work on it like step by step, because you start with the idea, then you move on to programming, then you realize one of the things you have no idea how to implement, or it's straight up unimplementable. So you get back to the idea, you change it, you move on, then you reach the electronics, you realize that every single one of the components you have is fried or fries itself, because that always happens. I still have on my desk like a small baggie of multiplexers that are absolutely useless, because you look at them wrong and they basically shatter to pieces.
Yeah.
I've used them. I've used them twice as a test, and I've nailed it on the first try. And I've tried using them 5 times, and they just died instantly. So on paper they work brilliant. In reality, not really. So you then get back to the idea. You change the idea again. You need to change the implementation. You move on to electronics. Fingers crossed it works, because if it doesn't, back to square one, and so on and so forth. And so that kind of structure only works when you have like the finished thing, and only then retrospectively like build around it. But the problem then is that the amount terabytes, if not petabytes, of footage you need to store.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's so funny. In one of my shorts, there's like a 1 second clip of me dropping yet another fried PCB into a box or a bin of other fried PCBs. And literally that bin is probably worth over $1,000, $2,000. And there's like Raspberry Pis that are fried, you know, custom PCBs.
Oh my goodness,
But it
yeah.
only is 1 second of footage in one video in a short.
It is.
That how many hundreds of hours?
It is so upsetting. That's why I think with this project, I will just forego talking about the project itself, and we'll just focus more on documenting the journey. Because once again, that's way more fun. Maybe it's less entertaining
Yeah.
to watch, I do believe, but it's just more fun, so that's what I'm going to do. It's, as I mentioned, I want to do it as a hobby. I already have enough work on my plate.
I there's a couple of people I watch that do that stuff, and I've been trying to emulate what they do. So, and that's what I've been trying to do now with open muscle stuff is just record the shots of me working on it as B-roll. Like that's
Yeah.
it. So when I move the board to another table, just record it a different angle, show it where it exists. That way I don't have, 300 gigabyte
And
worth of
I think
files.
that works. I think that works really well. It does take it does separate the process of making something from building it even more, but it does work really well. As in it's just really pleasant to watch. Because then because then the concepts that you're watching, the video that you're watching, like thematically matches what you are talking about in the video. And even though it's not like from specifically that's the paradox of it, isn't it? That if you are talking about
Yeah.
something the recording is showing. So for example, if the recording is showing I don't know, you chucking a a fried PCB into a bin of fried PCBs, then that will leave less of an impact than if you are talking about it and B-roll is showing something from a different time but kind of related.
Yeah.
So for
So
example,
if you just capture enough B-roll, it seems like it could be a pleasant experience for the viewer.
yeah.
I did just try to hire someone to make my board, So
Make your board.
AI told me that. Yeah, my newest prototype I was working on, and the manufacturer keeps on saying, "Hey, are you okay with this? This is wrong." And I'm like, "Yeah, just make it and send it to me." And then they keep on emailing me, "But this is wrong." I'm like, "Just send me this stupid thing." And so I decided to hire someone to design the flex rigid PCB for my latest prototype.
Oh my, that's really nice.
Yeah, hopefully. I actually just got a response from him.
No.
Talking to you made me remember that I should check my inbox. But no, I just wanted to bug you for a little bit, say hi,
No,
see what
don't
you're up
worry.
to.
I'm always buggable. Always open to be bugged. Otherwise, I just go mental. You know, I need someone to bug me. X.
One of these days, I can fly out there and annoy you in person if you have one of those events for your nonprofit.
Yes, soon you will. The first event, we didn't nail the first event so far, and by nail I mean it's still ongoing. The charity doesn't exist yet as well, which is funny. That means I have spent basically a month working on a charity that doesn't exist. All the problems, none of the benefits. It's really quite something. But I'm glad. I am honestly
sorry.
glad. No. I am glad because it gives me a sense of accomplishment. It's bloody difficult, but that's good, because if it was easy, then it wouldn't feel right. If it would be easy to start a charity, then that would be too fishy for me. I'm glad that it's difficult. I like the challenge.
You know, I actually say that in some of my business ventures too. It's like you want something to be sufficiently difficult so that way you have less competitors.
Yeah, that's well. I mean, I'm not not specifically my motivation, but the idea behind it is the same.
Yeah.
Two. So it's going to be two.
Well, cool. I'm gonna go lurk.
Brilliant. All right. If my math is correct, this should be 2 plus 1.5 times 2 to the 1/3 power divided by 3 to the 1/3 power, if I am not mistaken. And that means that with these two objects, that looks so wrong. I'm such an idiot. Wait, no, I'm not. This is correct. Huh? Well, that's... what? I need to do it separately. Oh, I am a bloody moron, is what I am. This has to be a... yes! This right here has to go in directly, and right here has to be a 3.5. Like so. No, this, once again, something is clearly off. My math is incorrect. Because right here would be a 2, and right here would be a 3.5. I'm not going crazy, right? These arrows are the same. They shouldn't be. The top arrows should be shorter. The best charity and for a non-real charity have the improved memories. Says the imaginary number I. I don't know exactly what you mean there, but I'm just gonna assume it's correct. Why isn't this... my math is off. Right, so in the bottom scenario... no, they are not equal. But the top one is longer? It does appear to be. Placement surface. Oh, that is bad. That's really bad. The top one is longer. The top one is longer. It shouldn't be. Because basically the mass of our first cube. Because I'm a bloody idiot! This should be a 2, this should be a... God, this should be both a 3. For goodness sake. Yes, now it's correct. Right. Yeah, now it's correct. It's too small to even appear there, but I mean it is correct. Which means what we can do then at the end is add 0.65. Like so. Just to get it to a minimum. There we go! Jeez, my goodness. That is correct, brilliant. Render animation. And all these arrows are the same length. Procedure draw the two lines, yeah, they are the same length. The lines were just a visual aid to demonstrate my thought process, alright? Don't worry about it. Right, back to this. The CMD buffer is correct, the args buffer is correct. The question is, why does this right here, unless this right here replaces the spaces with a... Oh, unless it replaces them with a null. Because in that scenario... Do I still have open the background, like the cheat sheet of how to deal with this? It doesn't appear so. Okay, I can open a new one. strtok_r. We're looking for like a cheat sheet of how we would use it. Oops, that was my Spotify. With a playlist for building a gun, but that's not the one I'm gonna play. I'm gonna play Journey Page. That's because it is my magical... It is witchcraft, because this music actually has the magical property of making all the code I write magically work. Strategic witchcraft. Okay. This function right here is what we're looking for, which inputs a string, each point a safe pointer, which kind of outputs it, but that's unrelated, that's just how C works. So right here what it's doing is, it's taking the token, it's taking the rest as string, it's taking as a pointer, that makes sense, which means we have our CMD buffer, into which we read our string, that's our string. The rest is our arguments buffer, which is meant to save the arguments. Hi there, Zero, by the way. Hi, how you doing? Then while token is not equal to 0, and we're also setting it to the result of this, in which scenario oh wait, because it's meant to... No, token is not gonna help. Tabs obviously are not necessary, but they make it nicer. Let's token and I'm good, thanks for asking. I'm glad to hear you're good, really glad you're good. We're going to do this because I would like to slow down the entire business going on with ideally... Oh no, wait, that's not what I'm looking for. Pun intended, I suppose, not really. Sleep. Uni STD, alright. To build a machine that drops 48 anvils tick on a block, it can destroy netherite helmet in 1 tick. The engineering of Minecraft Redstone has evolved quite a fair bit, has it not? In a bit of a concerning manner, I would even say. I just sleep 1. I imagine that should be 1 second. Do I need to link the library or do I not? Appears no. That's brilliant. Look, right. Something test 1, 2. Good. Good. Really good. Yes. Yes. Bloody yes. The only problem is so there was cured cancer in the flying cars. The engineering does appear to be quite impressive. This is really good. I told you Jimmy Page made you cold. Well, to be fair, it was working the entire time, but this is just a visual glitch. The arrows are actually correct. Yeah. Alright. Actually, I just said that there... No, it doesn't. Yeah. Way darker, and this kind of just to differentiate them a bit. There we go. Alright, so the problem is that we actually can't seem to detect, we can't seem to break the loop. Something test 1, 2. We get something. Test something is the token. Then test 1, 2 is the args buffer, and then something is the CMD buffer. That's curious. Why would it loop back? This introduces a bit of a problem, not going to lie. Very extremely for hammer break. I don't care. I'm still about this brain cancer. Jeez. This is an issue because give me the manual. I was at prom last weekend. I had fun, but I'm also confused because I danced with this girl from high school. I'm in the same year but different classes for at least half an hour. Well, that's a... Why were you confused? Why are you confused, actually? Make it. I don't multitasking is coding part of the animation. I am multitasking. I'm bored. Now I think I may be interested in her. And also when we met, they were giving each other by handshake. And Dia was saying goodbye with huggers and tag on potentially seeing each other at uni. And I don't know what to do. I think you do know what to do. You just need some encouragement. Because I feel like what to do is not a problem here. I feel like that's pretty obvious. If you think you may be interested in her, then get in touch. Yeah. This is not a matter of strategy. Strategy is simple. Or rather the plan, the idea, the ideal, the goal. If you're interested in her, then get in touch with her. Spend some time, eventually tell her about it, and I don't know, maybe she was just drunk. Maybe. Hey, that's a possibility. I won't be lying to you, that is a possibility. But maybe she also wasn't. Either way, that doesn't change the fact of the matter, does it? Yeah, spend some time with her, and eventually when the time comes, tell her that you're interested in her. And she'll either say that she's interested in you, or she won't. Either way, what to do is simple. There's only one thing to do. And that is it. In each string class should pass the same string as str must be null. Wait, it's like you, my sister is on the mother, I'm gonna see you, bye. Alright, bye Adrian, have a good one, see ya. I have to get it out there, thanks for listening and some encouragement. Hey, I understand it. Listen, I don't want you to think I'm blaming you or something, because I very much understand the reaction. I'm just excited for you. It does say here that in subsequent calls, str should be null and safe pointer and the buffer that points to should be unchanged since the previous call. Which makes me feel like this should be null on every other. Can I do this? Because I'm pretty certain null is just 0. So can I do? It's confusing. I'm gonna lie to you, it doesn't look like resting. What do you mean? If token, then null, otherwise this? Oh my goodness, that broke a lot of things. 2 null where no null expected. Oh jeez. That's a string, just trust me. Look, I can cast it as a char pointer. See, it's a string. No, that gave me an error instead of warning. Well, that's nice. I think that's because I messed up the casting notation. What do you mean? To null or non-null expected? What do you mean? It's totally a string. Look, I've put the sign that says it's a string on it. That, yeah, it's fine. I'm pondering, velocitons would exist and not exist depending on the frame of reference. Yeah, we do have to kind of tell relativity to piss off ever so slightly. It does not work with relativity of any form. Or maybe... No, I don't think it would. I'm thinking if this is actually... I'm not certain, but I imagine... There we go. There we are. Back to the problem at hand. What even was the problem at hand? Well, the problem at hand is that this right here doesn't give us what we wanted to give us. This right here is meant to separate off something test 1, 2. And then that's the issue. The issue is that right here the args buffer appears to be nothing. Although args buffer only ever has the rest of it. No, that won't work, damn it. I thought I had something, but no. Would be flash. Getting your ship being hit by a nuke. Flash maximum lasting cloud metal plasma superheated to the brew flare. I don't know how to simulate it. You're saying ship as in water ship, as in navy ship, sailing and such. Because in that scenario, getting your ship hit by a nuke, well, the ship wouldn't... It would be a flash, certainly. In the place where the ship is, there will be nothing anymore. A spaceship. Oh, well, that changes things. Good. Because when it comes to a spaceship, it is just like the explosion on Earth, except nothing's stopping it. So it's just a sphere. It's an ever-expanding sphere. The difference between an explosion in atmosphere and an explosion without an atmosphere is that in atmosphere you have things stopping that explosion. Which is why you get a mushroom, for example, the nuclear mushroom, when a nuke explodes. In space you don't have that, so it's just like an expanding ball of light and heat that just fizzles out slowly but surely. because it just covers more and more volume. Direct hit next to the ship. I don't think it matters, to be honest, if it's a direct hit next to the ship. In both scenarios, it's gonna be an expanding ball of head. Wait, I'm an idiot. Yes. I think I've nailed it. Hold on. Because all we need to do is just... this is gonna be a tad more tricky and less elegant. Because we need to take this, do, while Alex buffer 0 and then not, right? Oh, you bloody, oh, what's the problem? Did I use an incorrect notation? Oh, I need to end this like so, huh? Splendid. Something test 1, 2. Well, that was interesting. Right. Wait, no, whilst I buffer 0 because I'm an idiot. Something test 1, 2. Why? Just genuinely why? The args buffer 0 should be nothing. Or is it just a space? Is not equal to a space? Is that what we need? No, piss off. Build. Run. Something test 1, 2. Better, but it didn't break the loop, did it now? Or maybe it did, but the goddamn scanf didn't register. So let's try print input command. Shut your up. There we go, beautiful, it's very good. Test, something test 1, 2. No, it never gets there. Okay, that's progress. How much the can take before it changes pH? Get out of here, your chemistry. Well, if it's next to a ship, there will be no shockwave, and it would just tan the exposed side. It's tricky what you're saying, because when you say shockwave, first of all, in space you wouldn't have the same shockwave as you have on Earth. Because no atmosphere, once again. Second of all, think about it as a spectrum. In space, once again, it's much, much simpler because you're dealing with it in a vacuum. Since you're dealing with vacuum, the environment is basically uniform. You can imagine it as... Oh, I have the glitch of paint where I can only draw in this tiny rectangle. And I need to carry it over, and then I can't click on it right here. Well, I'm glad Windows is reliable software. I can't even turn it off unless I move in the top right corner. I'm gonna use Blender, because Blender is more reliable than Paint. Imagine it this way. You have a sphere. That's your explosion in space, right? This sphere has a certain radius. Now, the energy of this entire sphere would be roughly constant. The only thing that changes is the volume. So PR cubed, equation for volume of a sphere. Hold on. Equation for sphere volume. I'm not really a huge fan of memorizing equations, so unless I'm using something on a daily basis, I don't frankly remember it much. There we go. This, which means that your E divided by this is your basic like rough energy density. Now, this sphere is expanding, but that doesn't really matter. The point is that what you are interested in is the point at which it reaches the spaceship, which means the point at which, as the R is going up, you're interested in the point at which the spaceship is actually affected by it, which means the further away it is, the lower the energy density will be once it reaches it. There should be a cube, there we go. You don't have to be concerned, if I'm not mistaken, with stuff like shockwaves and such, because once again, it's a vacuum. You can, I think, just think of it in terms of energy density, because there's nothing fancy. Hi, this kid, by the way, hi. But we did render another... No, this. Let me just move the decimal by 1 point. And let's move the decimal by 1 point right here as well. Does anyone here watch Invincible? I have seen 3 seasons. If only 3 seasons are out, then yes, I have seen it. Are you sure? Am I sure about the explosion thing? Well, unfortunately I haven't landed those fun jobs, but let's check. What causes a shock wave with an explosion? When you have an explosion, what causes a shock wave? We're not really looking at the blast injury, are we? Shockwaves, unless this leads to shockwaves. I made a steak. A steak?! This is good news. You can be a bee. A pet. A pet? A pet. This is good news. You will live 30 years. This is insane! We can finally be bees. Oh, sure, special. Okay, that makes no more sense, yeah. I caught on a bit late. Invincible is pretty nice. I've been thinking about rewatching it recently, but I still am not finished with Stranger Things. There we go. No. Let me break it down for you, Mark. Would you be surprised if I told you that today, just today, this is the second time I'm hearing that as a meme? Second time. Katsi has made a song. Well, I don't know what to call it. So Katsi has made something, audio, which includes making it. There we go. Only a couple left actually. There's no break convention for some reason. There we go. Of course. Now, I will hide it for now because it's not necessary yet. I will do this. Brilliant. Okay. Right, back to this. The problem we're getting this time is interesting. The do while, because we're getting a null on the token. So can we say whilst token? Can I just do whilst token? Was it just about the order of, please let it be just about the order of checking, because that would be so much easier. Something test 1 2 something test 1 2 1 2. Ah, gotcha, bitch. I had a sneaking suspicion. There was an easier way to test it, though, and I don't know why I didn't take the easier way to test it. This right here. Inputs. There we go. Test 1 2. Yes, bloody knew it. Alright, the problem we're having is that the scanf obviously doesn't work the way I would like it to work. It works the way it works. So we're not looking for, I think fget is what we would actually be looking for, right? Fget, oh, I think fget. Fget C? I think it would be fget. Standard, that's neat. Jeez, that's some pretty fancy notation. Alright. CMD buffer, and we're reading 1000, up to 1000. I'm pretty certain it's gonna fetch on end line. Fingers crossed! Something test 1 2. Well, progress? It included the end line. Or did it? Nope. What happened though? The CMD buffer became an end line. No wait, it did include the end line. Oh, okay, we don't want it to include the end line. But still, this is progress. Because C string compare, and then C find a character, replace a character in a string. Because what we would like to replace then is obviously replace the end line with null. Is there genuinely no string utility thing? Wait, what? No. I'm just looking for a character, that's it. Singular character. I don't want a program for, come on! I'm gonna do the single line of code if that, fine, fuck it. For int I is smaller than, is equal to 0, cmd buffer I not, wait, yes, this I++, and then if cmd buffer I is equal to an end line, then just replace it to be a 0. There! Would that work for you? Something test 1, 2. Segmentation fault. Oh. Yes. Also, that is a pretty funny one for main. I will give you that one. But why a Dutch rave? Why Dutch? I think I don't actually, wait. Do I even need to remove the end line? Now I think about it. I mean, all we're going to be dealing with is the token anyway. Something test 1, 2, 3. Something test 1, 2, 3. Again, something to test. It is adding the end line at the end, which drugs. I don't mean to be that guy, Farmer Main, but if you think that you need to go to a Dutch rave for that to happen, you haven't been attending raves. So this right here will allow us to extract all of the lines, which is easy. Simple, lovely. There we go. Why do you feel the need to pick a place? It's a rave. What do you think you are gonna be doing there? Reading books? Yeah. Besides, considering your particular interests, Farmain, considering your particular interests, I imagine you would hit it off on raves. You would have a good time. You would be the celebrity. 100 like so. I would be the most sober in such a place. I would only give a shit because I'm having headaches and autopsy. Yeah, I mean, yeah, but I'm talking about your interests. The pharmaceuticals knowledge would be, honestly, would make you a celebrity. My main motivation for, like, one of the main reasons why I would like to learn organic retrosynthesis is simply to have something to talk about those parties. No one is interested in theoretical physics. For legal reasons, to all of the international law enforcement agencies watching, this is a joke. I'm joshing about, obviously. What do you think I would attend parties with drugs? That's illegal, isn't it? I'm pretty certain. Unless it isn't. I mean, hey, how was I supposed to know there would be drugs there? I mean, I didn't know there were drugs there. I mean, what drugs? What are we talking about? What party? I'll be shared by a gang of dealers because I'll be seen as competition, though. Have you ever seen a dealer? They don't really seem like the type to do the shivving. You're supposed to. I had a premonition. Exactly. This is tricky. Hi, the Satanic Panic. What a brilliant name, my goodness. Oh, what a brilliant name. Make it, how much for you to do a charity checkup in a rave? That's a good question. You know what? I actually, one thing which I will mention, it's important. I'm going to keep a note of Lycan! Oh, it's you! How you doing, Lycan? I'm going to keep like a list of charity fundraisers. Where basic idea is that if we reach a certain amount of money, then I will do X. And one of them, and I'm open to ideas on what you would like. So here's how it's gonna work, okay? You give me an idea for something you would like me to do, and I'm gonna put a price tag on it. If we reach that price tag, then I'm gonna do it. So I am adding, I would like you to know, Figure, I am adding to the list charity checkup on a rave. Do eggs. Eggs are the inspiration for it, yeah. Yeah, hold on. I'm noting it down. I think it's a brilliant idea, to be honest. I'm gonna make a note. I'm gonna call it brilliant ideas, and it's going to be this. Just there. I've noted it down. Make it. When will you do a door giveaway? Does it have to be my door? Can I just take it for someone else? I joined the 7 as something in the math channel. Really? What have you asked? I'm so glad that you you asked something and the first goddamn response is from Ash. This reminds me of Lycan. Like the oil wrestling. Find me a person I could oil wrestle with and I may note it down, but the price tag is gonna be high. I thought you were about to think of crazy things you do for charity, like you're wrestling. Well, I mean, why do all wrestling again? Making a video in an active war zone, that would have a higher price tag. That would have a much higher price tag. But I am going to what else? Hold on. This, what else do I have? €5. The problem with the active war zone is that I would either need to go to an active war zone or I would need to cause an active war zone. This might actually happen. I'm sorry. I've been lost in thought a bit. I was thinking about like logistics. The active warzone thing is tricky, but it's not impossible. Certainly doable with the right preparation. What's a reductive way of introducing a sex worker who's good with arithmetic? Is the thought that counts. Shut up. I missed you, Lycan. I missed you. size type as consent longer like this. There we go. Actually, I haven't typed it now that I think about it. Ah, whatever. Elephants. Nude cooking stream. Try to check out with you. I'm making videos while intentionally starving yourself for 2 weeks. What is happening with this idea of me just... No, I eat. I just have an upsettingly fast metabolism. Oh yeah, this has to be gone. There we go, this worked. The SDR. What's your x squared equals y? Damn. You're gonna need to pay extra for that. It reminds me of that one time when I was in a conversation with Katsi, Remco, Macaroni and Ash, and I remember I heard Remco talking and I had no idea if he was talking about physics or golf girls. It was quite something. I still to this day am not certain what he was talking about. No. Bezia. This has to move to the left. There we go. Splendid. Beautiful. Lovely. The golf particles. Jeez. I can't make any kind of innuendos with you because y'all just lose it instantly. Honestly, unbelievable. The slightest of a, not even an innuendo, the slightest of a reference. And it's pandemonium. There's something called fucking quantum integral and quantum derivative. I don't know fucking why they're called that, because they're just derivatives and integrals without limits. Wait, what? Derivatives and integrals without limits? What do you mean? As in the derivative. Like, as in the definition of a derivative, but without the limit as h approaches 0. Well, that's our job. No, it's not. No one is paying you to do that. I would pay you to stop, in fact. And I am fucking broke. Look it up. Oh, you know what? I am tempted, actually. You have described it in a way that is quite interesting. Quantum derivative. I'll be damned. But the... Oh, that is interesting. But that's multiplied, what? Oh, that's not just without a limit. The Q, it is multiplied. is interesting. So it's basically like an integral, like a derivative, but instead of addition being the offset, it's an offset by multiplication. Oh, that is interesting. Oh my goodness, that is interesting. Because that means as the values of x get higher and higher, the multiplication offset becomes more and more pronounced. Or does it? Oh, that's interesting. You have actually got me interested in this. This is wild, because normally when people describe mathematical concepts and tell me to look them up, they describe them in such an uninteresting way that I never want to do it. I'll keep it in my pocket for later. For now, let's take this. Let's go to main. Let's include well, best will be defines and then type stage. Can I build it right now? No, I can't, obviously. Well, now I can. Beautiful. Because then all we would have is hi Ninja, hi. Then what we need is we need utilities. What does Q derivatives mean? Well, it would appear that the reason why it can't go to 0 is because the reason why it doesn't have a limit as h approaches 0. Well, I mean, it would make sense if h approaches 1. So I'm honestly still a bit shocked by it not having a limit. As Q goes to 1, yeah, exactly. My goodness, notation is something. Right. The eigenfunction of Q derivative is the Q exponential. Ah, a sentence makes sense, but wow. Wow, okay. Wow, is the exponential the eigenfunction? Because that makes sense, I don't like it. Q derivative of the monomial. Now you're just making up words. What's a monomial? It's roughly speaking polynomial which has only one term. Who calls this a monomial? Oh. Oh no. I'm not drunk enough for this shit. There's no way monomial is a genuine way to refer to a polynomial with only one term. That's hilarious. I just finished 2 chapters of functions as well. Good for you. Good for you. A monomial cannot be a real word. I mean, do you have any other ideas on how to call it? Polynomial with only one term. There, no need to shorten it, in my opinion. Oh, one-term polynomial. Or just, you know, x to a power. Also works. Exponentiated variable? There are a couple of names that don't require a new term. Polynomial, many terms, just one term. Exactly, yeah. Monomial being a polynomial of only one term. It works. It does work. At the same time, later on people wonder why mathematics is so unreadable. I'm not saying it is a logical contradiction. I'm saying that there is a reason why people find learning mathematics such a painful task. Okay, I now think I could explain it to you what dx means in context of differential forms. Go ahead. Nice thing is I have also gotten a fair bit better at mathematics since then. So Dynamo's opinion rejected. Farmer Main, do you actually enjoy mathematics? On a manifold, tangent vectors behave like differential operators. On a manifold, tangent vectors behave like differential operators. Well, separately, I know what a manifold is, I know what a tangent vector is, and I know what a differential operator is. As a sentence, though, kind of like I would have studied it if I had no life. No, you would have studied it if it wasn't peppered to the brim with pointless terms and pointless words that were only made so that someone doesn't have to use 3 words to describe something, and instead they can introduce a new word into nomenclature that's going to be used 5 times through the course of the entire human history. Doesn't matter. Kind of like how a tangent line can be obtained with a derivative. Oh, okay, that makes sense. Right. Tangent vectors are differential operators that can act on any function of the manifold, right? D is a covector in differential geometry. And it's denoted like that because it's the dual to the tangent vectors, which are differential operators. D for dual, D for derivative. Hold on. It's a language hold on, because there are 2 topics at play. First, I need to tackle the one that I have more to heart. It's language we make up words and there is narrow consensus to deal with it. Farmer Main, the leading reason, in my opinion, why an anti-scientific community exists is because science at times is an unbearable mistress that is really difficult to decipher. And a significant factor of that is the language used to describe science, because there are a lot, and I mean a lot of different terms, like words, which are used a handful of times throughout all of the scientific studies. Where someone does a scientific study, they introduce a new term into it, and then they wonder why no one understands it. But yeah, hold on. Tangent vectors are differential operators that can act on any C infinity function on the manifold. And so, like, dx is a covector in differential geometry. And it's not, I'll be honest with you, like, in differential geometry, I don't know differential geometry. Because it's the dual to the, it's not like that because it's the dual to the tangent vectors, which are differential operators. I think you would need to explain to me exactly the link between tangent vectors and differential operators in order for it to make sense to me. Can't change the content of. I would love to quit saying, I don't know, Scheißen law. You're playing the truck driving simulator. There's another one law, a surname. Yes. Yeah. Take a man for like a sphere or something, alright. I am imagining a sphere. Draw a curve on it. I am imagining a curve on a sphere. Yep. Tangent vector can be found by taking the derivative of that curve, like parametric curve in normal calculus. Yes. Yes. I'm interesting that people have made workspace on would be very mundane things, and many have enjoyed it. Well, I don't know much about literature, so I don't have much to say there, but if it's well written. These vectors can then take a differentiable function as an input and tell you how much that thing changes in that direction. It's a directional derivative. Hold on. No, I'm lost. Right, you have a sphere. On that sphere you have a curve. Classic manifolds. You tangent vector can be found by taking the derivative of that curve. Yeah, that makes sense. You take its change in one direction in relation to another. So you consider this operating on the function as that curve, right? On the map as the curve. What loses me is these vectors can then take a differentiable function as an input and tell you how much that thing changes in that direction, because I don't think I have that kind of understanding of a vector. Like, my understanding of a vector is still, I don't know, R7, C12. That's my understanding of a vector. So I don't think I have that kind of in-depth understanding of vector in order to understand that line. Take a differential function of the input to converting changes one direction. Tangent of x direction derivative is the function draw because you can choose any arbitrary function. Huh. You just sent me links to Map Stack Exchange. No. No. You lost me. You've lost me, unfortunately. As a class of stackable functions, not C as in complex numbers. No, well, then in that case, even worse. I sent that to the server, yeah, I've noticed. I don't think I have a deep enough understanding of mathematics like him, unfortunately. I don't think I'm up there in order to understand this. Alright, I think I'm going to go for now. We have actually gotten some pretty nice progress. Yeah, almost half the video finished. Obviously afterwards I still need to record the chapter about Maxwell's equations, but you know, that one will be much quicker because that will require a minimal amount of animations and mainly just me explaining stuff, which is much easier. Anyway, I think I'm going to go because I am getting a bit tired and I will try to get some sleep. I'll try my best to see if it works. That would be nice. And for now, I think that'll be it. Thank you everyone so much for watching, and have a great day. Bye.